We've got a leaked document that has shown what appears to be an instruction manual for those insurrectionist protesters in Minnesota. It shows tactics and strategies for how to most efficiently cause maximum chaos while tracking ICE agents and causing all sorts of mayhem. One of those who's helped lift the lid on this story is journalist and author Michael Shellenberger, and I'm pleased to say he joins me now. Michael, this instruction manual that is broken and you've publicized is very interesting because it suggests that this is a much more organized phenomenon, these protests we're seeing in Minnesota and across the country, than just, some angry people organically getting out there and protesting. Tell us about what this document has in it, and also some of the signal chats that have leaked, the encrypted messaging chats that have leaked that describe in real time what these people are up to.
Sure. And hey, James, it's good to see you again and good to be with you. I think a lot of people think that these protests are spontaneous and nonviolent. The evidence now is very clear that they are neither of those things. There is a long and honorable tradition of nonviolent civil disobedience that begins with Henry David Thoreau in the United States in the 19th century, through Mahatma Gandhi at the beginning of the 20th century, to Martin Luther King. Environmentalists and conservationists have used those tactics. And whatever you may think of their message, there is a commitment in that style of protest to nonviolence, to making sure that nobody is hurt in those engagements. Often it's pretty coordinated so that the police know when the protesters will cross the line. That's not happening in Minneapolis. These are highly organized efforts to interfere directly with law enforcement operations, going right up to the limit of what's legal. We obviously have very strong First Amendment free speech rights in the United States, which we are fighting to protect against people that would like to expand censorship. But the issue is the physical involvement in these law enforcement operations, unfortunately, that have now resulted in 2 deaths. Alex Preddy, at least twice, first directed traffic through the street, which he's not allowed to do as a civilian waving on traffic, and then put himself right in front of an ICE officer as the ICE officer was tussling with somebody. And then he resisted arrest. He did not go to ground. And now yesterday, we've got a new video of him 11 days before he was shot.
Yeah, let's just play some of that video there now so you can see it. You see this here. It's quite extraordinary. It appears to be the same man. And yeah, he's kicked out the taillight of one of these vehicles. And yet the narrative about this guy is, oh, well, he's peaceful. He's a nurse. He helped people. But there seems like there's a much different side to this story.
Yeah, and I should say I view both him and Renee Good as victims of radical left-wing ideology. I think that they really have come to believe that they're fighting Nazis. But you see right there in the video, I mean, he is absolutely reckless and out of control. And again, I think he's sort of a victim of ideology, but you see him pop back up after he's altercating with the cops, continue to scream at them with a gun sticking out of the waistband of his sweatpants. And I know that maybe Australians, because you've had a gun ban, and you may think of Americans as very like Wild West up here. That sort of thing is not seen.
The thing is, it feels to me, and maybe I'm just a cynic, tell me if I'm being cynical here, it's something I've never been accused of before, but it does feel like the people who are pushing these protests, these activist demonstrations, for them, the deaths of people like Renee Good and Alex Preddy, they're not necessarily tragedies. They're tragedies, but they are also things that they can exploit for their own political aims. Feels to me like a lot of these people here are what Lenin called useful idiots, who are being deployed out to brawl with the cops to create chaos that they're being used to, try and unseat Donald Trump, create chaos, and say to the American people, just as in 2020 during the George Floyd riots, vote Democrat and it all goes back to normal.
Yeah, that's right. Useful idiots and cannon fodder. Clearly, the left, the groups that are organizing this, see these people as pawns to be used. I think it's incredibly, sometimes people are accusing the left of suicidal empathy. I'm not seeing a lot of empathy right now. We're seeing a lot of people that are engaging very aggressively and not with any appreciation or sympathy for their fellow man.
I got to say, Michael, that the mainstream media in the U.S. has not covered itself in glory here. CNN, have a listen to this guest that they brought on, who again pushed this whole idea that, well, you know what? I'm not even going to say the words. I'm going to let this person speak for themselves. Have a listen to this.
They take people to Fort Snelling here, which literally was built as a concentration camp, and Alligator Alcatraz, which I think we can all agree is a concentration camp. Not saying they're Dachau, I'm not saying they're putting people in ovens yet, but these are concentration camps.
I mean, where do you even go with that? This is why people don't trust the media anymore, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, that rhetoric is getting people killed. And I'm one of the biggest supporters of free speech in the world. I don't think the government should do anything to stop people from saying things like that. I also think that it's important to call it out, that is language that incites violence. That is, language that incites violence is allowed in the United States. What's not allowed is for it to be immediate incitement to violence. But clearly, there's just millions of people in the United States right now who believe that they are at war with a fascist or Nazi government. All evidence to the contrary. I mean, you might disagree with the ICE raids and the deportations, but to compare, paying somebody to leave the United States and to paying for their flights, comparing that to the death camps is just offensive. And obviously, even talking about it, we are in some ways handing them a victory. Unfortunately, I think the bad news here is that I think the left did win. And I think it's telling that their victory entailed getting 2 of their own people killed. But I think the left did win. What they wanted was to, bring an end. They wanted the president to stop enforcing the policy agenda he was elected on. And again, I'm not even defending it. I'm just making a point about, this is basically allowing an undemocratic means, violent undemocratic means to undermine the, policy mandate of a democratically elected president.
Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and watch all our content, including full episodes of the YoJoe Show podcast.